when we came round for some walks, and I remember coming here in a really cold January afternoon on a Sunday afternoon, and we just found ourselves moving from coffee shop to coffee shop, and everyone was really, really lovely, and we somehow walked home with a gift, and we thought we'd been to the seaside because there's so many gift shops, and we both just said, this is just such a lovely place to live. I had a really lovely coffee and a chat with the guy who runs, is it Latte Da?
Oh yes, in Peacock News.
Really, really nice guy in there. I said, hi, I'm new here. We have opened an office in Leighton Buzzard. How do I go about networking? Am I, doing this right? And he, had a latte. No pun intended, but come over, and he had the newspaper, he had some magazines, Be Local, a few others, and he was like, this is probably your starting point.
This week on the podcast, I chat to Gemma from Andrew Isaacs Law, who have recently opened an office above Mimic Gifts in Leighton Buzzard. We talk about setting up a business locally and living locally as well, and everything that entails. So, hello and welcome to another episode of the Leighton Buzzard Local podcast. Today I'm here with Gemma, who works for Andrew Isaacs Law, who have recently opened an office in Leighton Buzzard. Hello, Gemma.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Excellent. So at the top of every podcast, I've just been asking people what you do and where people can find you in Leighton Buzzard if they need to.
So I'm a family law solicitor, which specialises in private family law work. So that includes separation matters, cohabitation, divorce, and private children work.
Excellent. And how long, I said you've recently set up in Leighton Buzzard, sort of how long has the office been open here?
Since the 2nd of April. So we're still very new. We're coming up to a month anniversary.
Oh, fantastic. And how are you finding it so far?
I absolutely love it. I love working in Leighton Buzzard, which is my hometown. So the commute is very easy. And I'm hoping in the summer I'll be able to walk into work and walk back to get my fitness and my steps up. But yeah, I absolutely love it. I love working here, and I love seeing, members of the community. We've got some regular faces now, so it's really nice when you're coming into work and you're like, morning. So that's really, really nice. Sometimes you don't get that feel when you're working in a bigger city such as London, but yeah, it's really, really lovely.
That's great. So where can we find you in Leighton Buzzard?
We are above Mimic Gifts. We're on the top floor.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. And what made you choose Mimic?
Well, we were trying to source some offices in Leighton Buzzard, and these seemed to be ideal because of their location. Sarah herself was really friendly and approachable and very, very accommodating in what we wanted to do with the office and how we wanted it to look. So we were very lucky that we got a blank canvas, so to speak. So we've tried to make this a perfect solicitor's consultation room.
Oh, fantastic. That's really good. And it's nice. It must be a nice space to be as well, because obviously there are other local businesses in the building. Have you met any of them?
I'm still going around meeting everyone because I've been out networking as much as I can, but I am trying to go around and knock on people's doors and say, hello, I'm Gemma and I'm your neighbour. Some of them might have had some flyers pushed onto their doors, but I leave my door open just so if anyone wanted to just put their head around the corner and say hi and have a coffee, then I'm here.
Cool. Well, and that's how we met, isn't it? Because you messaged me and were like, we've opened up recently, we're local, we want to be sort of as in the community as we can. So I guess could you talk a bit more about like what it is that you do? So obviously you're in part of our community now in Leighton Buzzard, but the kinds of help that you can offer people and how you go about doing it?
Absolutely. So with family law, it's a very emotive area of law. The idea is that we want to help people when they are struggling through a breakdown of potentially a long-term relationship or even a short-term relationship. And from that, a number of issues can arise in relation to finances, children, dividing up assets and trying to generate a new income. So we're there really to sort of help advise and guide when people are at their lowest. Although we do help when people are very happy and they're starting to move in together, and we look at cohabitating couples and what we can do to kind of protect them if the worst was to happen. So what we do, we offer a consultation, and actually Andrew Isaacs, our are brilliant in terms of what they do for the consultation. So we have a no time limit consultation for a charge of £200. So you can come in and spend 4 hours with me if you wanted. You'd probably be sick of me after an hour. But yeah, so we're, open door policy in terms of a consultation, and we try and get to the root of the matter and what we can do to try and help. We very, very much want to keep issues outside of court, and I know that that's not necessarily what people think about solicitors when they first think of us. They think we're money grabbing and we're going to take you to court and we're going to be arguing with your ex-partner. That's not the case. We're much nicer now. And I am, and quite a lot of family solicitors are members of an organisation called Resolution, and the idea is to keep things amicable because that's in the best interest of everyone, especially children if they're involved. We want you to save money. We want you to be able to go back out into the community and be independent and start afresh. So that is really, really important. So don't be too scared of us anymore. We are nice people, I promise.
Well, I mean, I really enjoyed having a coffee with you, and it was really nice to chat about not just what you're trying to achieve, like with the family law firm, but also for you, like personally. So how long have you been in Leighton Buzzard now?
2.5 years.
And how have you been finding it?
Well, initially when I arrived, I have no friends and family here, so it was incredibly daunting. And I actually had pulled my then boyfriend over from the other side of the country, Hereford, to come and live with me here, which at the time was a halfway point between where my parents were living, where I was then living during lockdown, and my place of work. And so we thought it was a really nice area when we came round for some walks. And I remember coming here in a really cold January afternoon on a Sunday afternoon, and we just found ourselves moving from coffee shop to coffee shop, and everyone was really, really lovely, and we somehow walked home with a gift, and we thought we'd been to the seaside because there's so many gift shops, and we both just said this is just such a lovely place to live. So we had brought a new build. And then we started getting serious in terms of, raising a family, getting married, and taking a step further in sense of finding jobs in the local community. And Andrew Isaacs came up for me, and I couldn't resist. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds really good. So what sort of work, were you doing similar work before, or was it just that I think you mentioned it, you were working in London?
Yes, so I have worked in London, and then I moved to Parrott & Coles, which were a firm in Aylesbury. They were very similar in terms of where they were situated on the high street, wanted to be involved in the local community, and that's what really drew me to Andrew Isaacs. They're really, really focused on helping the local community. They want to be involved in fundraising, getting out there, making sure that I'm going to the market to buy my fruit and vegetables, and things like that. So it's really, really important that, for Andrew Isaacs, that I'm in the community, I'm living in the community, and I'm meeting people and I'm building that connection, because ultimately I want to help my community. I want people to be happy. I don't want people to be walking around miserable. And if we can do that, then absolutely. And that just means drinking lots more coffee and having some cocktails sometimes on a night out to get to know people. I'm absolutely here for it. So
No, that sounds great. Are there other sort of businesses in Leighton Buzzard that you've made particular connections with so far?
So we've made some connections with mortgage brokers, the local estate agents, and I had a really lovely coffee and a chat with the guy who runs, is it Latte Da?
Oh yes, in Peacock News.
Really, really nice guy in there. I sort of opened the door, I think it was on like a Tuesday morning. I said, hi, I'm new here. And I've just opened, well, I haven't opened a business, but we have opened an office in Leighton Buzzard. How do I go about networking? Am I, doing this right? And he, had a latte, no pun intended, but come over and he had the newspaper, he had some magazines, Be Local, a few others. And he was like, this is probably your starting point. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much. So that really got the ground running for me. In terms of, mortgage brokers, they've been really helpful. Been speaking to them in terms of, referring clients, because we need to speak to them as well. And it's really good when we have a connection with someone locally, because we can just pick up the phone and say, look, we've got a new client and we need some help in terms of, what can my client borrow at the end of all of this? So my client understands that. So, that helps in negotiations. So it's really good to have these local connections that you can just pull on really quickly and say, can you help me? Instead of going to really, really huge corporations where you sometimes get lost when you're looking for, can you just send me over a capacity report or something? So yeah, it's really good. I really, really enjoy it. And everyone here has been so helpful, actually. And they have really got behind it, and they've said, you want to talk to someone else? I think we were just talking a moment ago that you went to a networking event last week, and you're saying it was a Little Shark, wasn't it?
Tiny Shark.
Shark. Yeah, I nearly got there. Tiny Shark. You need to speak to them. They're great. And absolutely. When we probably finish this podcast, I'm gonna find her on Instagram and slide into her DMs.
Fantastic. I think that's how all good business networking starts, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for you personally, like you said, you've only been in Leighton Buzzard a couple of years. What are your sort of personal favourites, locally?
I have to admit, Fogarty Formal Men's Hire.
Yes. Yeah.
They really helped us out on the lead up to our wedding.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
We were let down by Mossbros on the run up to our wedding, and we just gave them a call and said we need help, and they were like, brilliant, come down. And I honestly have never met a nicer bunch of people in there that were just willing to help, and we felt a lot calmer that they were local. We go past their shop every morning. I'm like, there's our wedding suit in there. So that was really good, and we could just drop that off the day after our wedding. But they were really, really helpful, and I think that's the difference that we've kind of noticed living here. My partner being from Hereford, again, that's quite a close knit community. We certainly wanted to have something like that here, and it's full of lots of independence, and we love that. We love watching that. We want to help it. We want to we go to the butchers for our own meat. We go to the honeyman for our honey, who's in the market, and we've got some fish. We sat last week, actually, I think it might have been on the Saturday afternoon, we got some cockles from the fish counter, and we just sat there up by the clock, just enjoying some sunshine. So I think we're very much in the community now. I think we're definitely from Leighton Buzzard.
And I always say to people when they ask me about Leighton Buzzard, I think one of the things, there is such a sense of community, and I think one of the things that kind of feeds into that is that you have such a good mix of people who have lived here all their lives, and people, like you, that have either moved in to the town or have grown up here, moved away for a bit, come back. And I think that mix just really helps, because I think, if you have that kind of community that's been here, and then you have other people come in and see that, they're all like, well, brilliant, I want to be part of this. Yeah,
I agree. It's really, really good. It's even to the point of just being able to ring up someone and just say, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z. Do you know anyone that can help me? And that's, what we're kind of seeing a bit more and more. And what we can't fault on is that we're just meeting so many kind people, which actually, if you just sit and watch the news sometimes, you don't think that that's happening in the world, but it's such a relief to come away from your TV and come out into Leighton Buzzard and feel that you are part of a community and you are welcome, especially if we're not true locals. So it's been really kind. I mean, my partner, he's been involved with, going to jiu-jitsu, CrossFit, going to another gym, and he's building up these communities. I started CrossFit 2 weeks ago. Still can't walk properly, but that's a really lovely community there. That's where you're meeting people, and again, like you said, it's all walks of life, different people with different backgrounds that go to that gym, and it's just meeting people and actually building friendships. It's really, really important, and it really helps with the community. We're not all rushing past each other, which is what I experience sometimes in London and things. So really
absolutely good. When I first moved here, I joined Leighton Fun Runners, and I used to joke to my partner, I think this is just the fittest town. I was like, we've got 2 bowls clubs, there's a football club, there's a football club, there's a rugby club, there's multiple running clubs, there's a tri club, a cycling club. I was like, are there any hobbies, sports related hobbies that we don't have?
Oh, I agree. I 100% agree. And you've got Rushmere as well. And we were walking around Rushmere last summer, and I think we were talking aloud and joking about doing a heptathlon. Not that I ever will do that, by the way, but we were joking, like, what would it be like if we did? And when would training have to start? And then there was a guy behind us who actually said, hold on, there is something you can do in Leighton Buzzard. And I was like, oh my God, of course.
Of course there is.
Yeah. He was like, here's the name, here's the number, give us a call and, come down. So sorry, I haven't been down. I had a baby. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, and like you said, I think there is something for everyone. I mean, even having a baby, which can sometimes be quite lonely when you first have that baby and everyone sort of goes back to their everyday, especially if your partner goes back to work. And then all your friends and family, well, they're working, aren't they? Arguably Monday to Friday. But the mums clubs or the baby sensory, that's in, I think it's a tennis club. Yeah. You go down there and you're just, again, meeting loads of people and they're in the same position as you are. Yeah. And afterwards it's, should we go for a coffee down at, the Canal Street coffee shop and things like that? And that's been really, really lovely. And I've met loads of people from that. And then you get recommendations of, childcare. Where should, where did I want to put my baby when I went back to work? Yeah. And now I'm definitely more assured that he's happy and he's safe, because that's come off the back of a recommendation. So it's a really, really nice place to be. And you've just got to sometimes just dive in, haven't you? Yeah. It's, I was definitely nervous about doing it. And I was watching my husband sort of join all these sports teams. I was like, I'm going to have to jump in here. And I'm glad I have. Yeah, because it's absolutely been brilliant. And coming in to Mimic Gifts every morning, they're so happy, aren't they, down there? Yeah, they're like, morning, Gemma. Like,
absolutely.
Hello.
No, definitely.
Couldn't do anything more. Couldn't do more for you. Yeah. And that's just a wonderful shop. It's got everything and anything that you could ever think of.
Do you spend a lot of time having the pick and mix? Because I do love the pick and mix here at Mimic Gifts. So I feel like I already know if I had an office here, I would be in the pick and mix quite a lot.
I am trying my hardest to stay away from it.
How's that going?
Quite difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I have to sort of go through the back door very quickly. And this morning Sarah wanted me to have a look at something in the back. And I was like, no, you want me to go past the pick and mix? And I looked at the clock and I was like, it's 8:45. Is that too early?
It's just a good job she doesn't host the rum tastings during the day.
Oh, I know.
During the week, that would just be the end.
Oh, I know. I'm waiting to stumble home after one of them as well.
Well, I think you're right though when it comes to the sort of local business community here in Leighton Buzzard, because I think you hit the nail on the head when you're saying, when you ask people and they recommend a local business. I think often people, if you shop with a big company, they have a brand and you know what to expect. Absolutely, and you know what you're looking for from a small business, but there's sort of that tentative, but I don't have anything. But when somebody says to you, no, these people are good, it comes with that recommendation. And I think that's one of the things that really helps our local business community, is that everybody is engaged in being the person to say, are you looking for this? Or yeah, of course we've got that. You should speak to this person. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's actually funny, isn't it, when you compare it to what we buy on Amazon sometimes, and if you don't even look at any of the reviews and the rubbish that can come through your door. But when we're on the high street, we sort of have an idea that we have to go to big names because that's who we trust. But actually, it's no different to trying anywhere else. Yeah. And sometimes people go that little bit extra, don't they? I mean, when we first moved into our house, we went to the haberdashery because we wanted to make our own headboard. Yeah. And we were helped. We couldn't have asked for more. We told them what kind of fabric we wanted, and then we had tips on how to do that, and you'll need this and that, and here you go. And I think we come away with more bags, probably more fabric and sewing kits and staple guns to help it. But actually we went home and did it in an hour. Yeah. And I'm actually so proud that I have this beautiful headboard. And we did that, and we did it locally as well. So, it's really, really important. You always get that little bit more, don't you, from people, if you just go down to high street and shop a little bit locally sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you're just starting out in Leighton Buzzard.
Yes.
So do you have like plans for the future? Like, how do you see things going? Or is it just a case of you're still just excited to be chatting to people?
I am excited to be talking to people, but ultimately I want to be really, really busy in terms of bringing in work and helping people and going out and doing what I know best, and that's, advocating in courts and things, negotiating for my clients. So that's really important, and what I want to do is hopefully grow this office so we have other local solicitors working for us, and growing Andrew Isaacs in Leighton Buzzard and being a law firm that people can come to and people can trust. And I think one of the ways to do that is to actually get the trust of everyone first, so they know who I am. And they can understand how I approach their matter. And then that will hopefully be recommended to other people that are in a difficult time. Or a very good time if they're buying a house.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Gemma.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. This is episode 6, so there are plenty more episodes out there for you to check out if this is the first one you've listened to. Find the podcast wherever you usually find your podcasts and check it out on YouTube and YouTube Music.